Hey kids, Mr. Carey here. Today's lesson we're going to be working on ordering numbers, and we're going to be ordering numbers from large to small and small to large, and we're going to be making the biggest numbers and making the smallest numbers, and we're just going to be comparing numbers. So it's kind of like the skill we were doing yesterday with greatest to least and least to greatest, except for now you might have 3 or 4 numbers. You probably did this last year just with numbers in the tens, and now we're going to move to the hundreds and eventually to the thousands. Okay? So check this out. So when comparing numbers, just like yesterday, you want to go from the largest digit, like the hundreds, and then down. So obviously something with hundreds would be larger than something that doesn't even have hundreds, like 86 or 68, right? And we're going to compare those numbers. So we're going to be comparing numbers in something called greatest to least. Well, greatest is the largest and least is the smallest, big to small. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is find the largest number. So let's take a look here. I have 138, 86, 183. So I'll look at the 2 with the hundreds. So I have hundreds, 30, 80 would have to be 183. Likewise, the next one with the hundreds would have to be 138, right? 80, 30, it's larger. Now I'm looking at 86 or 68. 80 is larger than 60, so 86, and then last 68. Just double check, 183, 138, 86, 68, for sure. Okay, now we're gonna do just the opposite, least to greatest. So now we're looking for the smallest to the biggest, okay? So we'd have to start, these are 100, so it definitely wouldn't be there. We'd have to go to the ones with just 10, so it's 86 or 68. 60, 80 would definitely have to be 68. And then we'd have to go to 86, right? Then I'd have to go 138 or 183, 100, 130, 80. Well, 30 is smaller than 80, so it'd have to be 138, and then 183. I would suggest crossing them out as you go if you're doing it on a piece of paper. I just don't want to make a mess all over our chart. Now, another way they're going to do this is, notice this, 621, 126, 261. A lot of times on these math sheets, they're going to try to mix you up a little bit, and they will do the same number, and they'll just flip it around. So they'll put the 6 in the 10s, or the 1s and the 1, and they'll flip it around. So they want to make sure you really know your place value. And also sometimes they're trying to be a little tricky to make sure you're paying attention. Pay attention, be careful. So greatest to least. So I have 600, 100, 200. Will definitely have to be 621. And then 100 or 200. Notice how I'm starting in the hundreds. It would have to be 261. And then lastly, it would have to be 126. 600, 200, 100. So that was all just because the hundreds, totally. And then least to greatest, so now it would just be the opposite. So I'd have to go with the smallest one. So at 600, 100, 200 would have to be 126, 261, and then lastly 621. So notice how greatest to least, least to greatest, it's just flipped around the order, okay? Another way they're going to show this to you is something called, what is the largest number and what is the smallest number? So they'll give you numbers like 8, a 7, and a 4, and they'll say, oh, you got some cards. What's the largest number you can make? What's the smallest number you can make? Let me show you a trick for these. What I like to do is this. 1, 2, 3 digits, 1, 2, 3 lines, right? So the largest number, I'd want to start my largest number with the largest number in the biggest place value. So which on this one's ones, tens, hundreds, I would put the 8 in the hundreds. 7's the next largest, and then 4 in the ones. So largest numbers to the smallest numbers will give us the biggest number, so 874. So see, if I put like the 7 over here, it would be 700, which is definitely smaller than 800. And same thing, just at the smallest number, it's just the opposite. So I'd want to start with the smallest number in the hundreds. So it looks like the 4 is the smallest number, then the 7, and then lastly the 8, so 478. So that's just another way they're going to ask you to order numbers and compare numbers, besides doing greater than, less than, and equal to. Okay, I hope this is helpful. And by the way, if you guys haven't joined, all these videos we're putting on the Google Classroom, we're also putting them on, we made a 3rd grade Hobart YouTube channel. If you just check out the, if you go to YouTube and just put in Hobart 3rd grade, it'll pop right up and you can go on there and subscribe. And if you go on there, you'll be able to see all the videos. Maybe you missed some, or maybe we take them off of the Google Classroom. You can always just go back into our YouTube channel and see any videos you want, or anything like that. So subscribe. And all right, enjoy your day.